What is up, guys? Mcdoubles back again with a brand new video, and today we're going to be doing a build with the bow and the spear in New World's closed beta. I'm really psyched for this, and the reason I'm psyched for it is because some people think the bow is underpowered, they think the musket is always better, and some people think the bow is actually sleeper OP, and I'm here to figure it out for myself, and you can make a determination for yourself as well by the end of the video. So I hope you guys enjoy this video. Let's jump right in. Okay, guys, so in this video, like I said, bow and arrow and the spear, that is the goal, and this is exactly how we're going to try it. First and foremost, let me go ahead and show you guys just the typical talents that I've been using so far. We're gonna go with the spear, like I said, and we're gonna go all into the impaler tree with this particular build. Lots of people like to go with the zoner tree. That's because things like javelin toss with the knockdown are pretty solid. You can grab sweep for another knockdown and then give it extra damage with coup de grace, and of course gain grit during it as well, so you can't be interrupted. These are pretty good ways to, well, zone your opponent, right, to control them, but the impaler tree is going to be where you want to go if you want to do more damage. As a result, I took skewer for a bleed effect and some damage as well. I also took perforate. This is actually interesting. So this is perforate. You can see it was 4 attacks, quick succession, and they're going to apply a debuff on my target that you can see here called Rend, which reduces my target's damage absorption by 5%, and you can increase that as we continue down the talent tree. I just can't get them quite yet. And then lastly, Vault Kick, which is a 1.5 second stun with a little bit of extra damage. It's a pretty cool one that I've used before when I used Spear Musket. Now, the passives I took to complement this are going to be Precise Jabs for 5% more crit on light attacks, as well as Refreshing Jabs to make it to where I reduce all of my spear cooldowns by 10% after I do my 1-2 second hit on my light attack chain. So that's what that looks like once again. Then we are going to couple that with aggressive maneuvers. So I'm going to be reducing the cooldown of my spear stuff pretty consistently. This says the first successful hit with an ability within 2 seconds of dodging reduces all spear cooldowns by 20%. To give you an example of what that looks like, I'm going to put this on cooldown. I'm going to dodge, perforate, and you saw it go down by 3 seconds right there, right? That's actually a lot. That's pretty freaking good. I also took exposed wounds. I'm going to be bleeding my target with skewer, and exposed wounds gives me 15% more crit against targets with a bleed effect on them. That's just a bunch of extra damage at the end of the day. And lastly, we got some stuff to power up the vault kick, make it a little bit better. I gain 20% increased damage if I vault kick somebody with below 50% health. That's quite nice. And then continuous motion says cooldowns for other spear abilities are reduced by 30% on a successful vault kick, which once again looks like that and stuns my target. So we have a lot of ways to constantly reduce the cooldown of our stuff, assuming we're landing things and dodging things properly, and that's going to make for a pretty fast play style with the spear when we do get into melee combat. Now, to complement that, we're not going musket like we did before. We're going to go bow, and I'm going to be trying evade shot, rain of arrows, and this is the main one right here. This is the big one, poison shot. Now, to complement these, the evade shot, of course, being a knockback, the rain of arrows not being like World of Warcraft where it keeps going after a bit, but just being one rain of arrows, as you can see, for pretty decent damage, and the poison arrow being this right here, poisoning in an area of effect for 10% of my weapon damage over time, and we can increase that with talents. So there's a lot of AoE here, a lot of versatility, but a lot of the bow is going to be just simply auto-attacking, right? There we go, simply auto-attacking. Now to complement this, we're gonna go with evasive tactics. This says after I dodge, I do 20% more damage, and I do a lot of dodging. On top of that, I have evasive knockback, so like I said, evade shot is not just a, a pushback, well, a jump back rather, but it's also a pushback. That's quite good. On top of that, I took go the distance. This makes it where evade shot grants me 15% haste, which is essentially 15% movement speed, and you can see my character is like glowing right now, and I'll be running faster as well. We got barbed arrows to make it to where our rain of arrows is going to apply a 85% weapon damage over 12-second bleed, but it stacks 3 times. That's another bleed. That's quite good. Theoretically, if I have the bleed off from rain of arrows, I think that's going to trigger the 15% more crit with exposed wounds if I switch to my spear while that bleed is up. Not sure if that's going to work the way I think it's going to work, but it makes a lot of sense to me. And that's what we're going to do right now. The closed beta is going to end very, very soon, and I got to get into some PvP with the spear and bow and continue progressing the character. By the way, we've made a lot of progress with our professions, and I've got a pretty good take on it, I think, for what you can expect with professions when the game actually comes out, assuming they don't change as much in terms of what's going to be the easiest to level, what's going to be the most difficult stuff to find resources for. Did I really miss that turkey? There we go. And stuff like that. So anyway, guys, with that little intro out of the way, telling you what build we're using, let's go ahead and actually progress and play the character. So one thing I definitely want to say is thank you for supporting the New World content, right? All of my New World videos have gotten a pretty solid amount of views. Typically, non-World of Warcraft stuff doesn't do as well, and you know what? I really enjoy New World, so it's a major boon, I guess you could say, or just a positive outcome for me to see that other people enjoy watching the same stuff that I enjoy playing. It's really kind of reinvigorating my passion, and I just want to say thank you guys for that. But we're going to do a little bit of fishing. I'm not going to get it too high, but I do want to go over fishing as just a concept right now. In RuneScape, you point and click. In World of Warcraft, you just kind of throw it out and click the bobber when it does a little jiggle. In this game, you have to specifically throw it back at a certain distance, and of course that's up to, you know, if you can click it right. It kind of reminds me of one of those Chuck E. Cheese machines where the light would go in a circle and you had to click the button at the precise moment that you thought it was going to give you the most tickets. That's what this fishing feels like to me, you know, when you're first casting your line. But here's the thing. What I like about fishing is that I'm actually getting things that are good. You can see I got a chest right here. I was just fishing for fun. I wasn't even fishing for long, and my fishing level was not even high or even close to high. And so what I'm seeing from this is they took something that is typically mundane, like fishing in a video game, something that you really only do when you're trying to chill or trying to grind some kind of item reward from it, and they're trying to turn it into something that is actually as exciting as something like fishing in a video game could possibly be for somebody that might not necessarily have a passion for fishing in real life or something like that. So I'm very excited about this. Okay, let me go ahead and show you guys how to fish in New World. First of all, you're going to want to assign your proper keybinds. In my case, it's left click, hold to cast, the plus button, which is a mouse button for me to equip some bait, and F3 to start and exit fishing. What you want to do is always make sure you have bait. As far as I can tell, the general rule is that freshwater is located in places where freshwater would be in real life, and saltwater is located in places where saltwater would be in real life. I'm sure there's a better way, a more efficient way to figure this out, but that's how I figured it out. So this river should be freshwater because that's a real life equivalent, but over here on the coasts, that would obviously be saltwater because it would lead to an ocean, right? So that just makes logical sense to me. You want to go ahead and put on some bait, whatever it is that you might want to get. In this case, I'm going to go ahead and use a firefly bait because it gives me a large boost to catch better fish in fresh water. You have the little animation. You go ahead and you cast. I always go for the max. I freaking failed, of course, just for the video, obviously. And then you wait. So what I'm going to do is wait and look in the middle there and wait for it to tell me to left click. So let's wait and see. Okay, there we go. And now I hold down left click. I wait for that to go, okay, chill. Let it go back. All right, it's orange. You don't want it to go red. You can break your line. It's a tug of war. All right. There we go. And we made it. We got a small perch. It gives you the poundage. It gives you how big it is. That's sick to me. I'm assuming you'll be able to put them in your house, possibly. I mean, the sky's the limit with that kind of design, right? It could be that you want a specific size, specific length for a specific item or specific quest, and that's pretty sick as well. What I'm seeing is not just a half-assed attempt at putting certain crafting professions into the game or gathering professions into the game. I'm seeing definite true effort, and that kind of leads me back to, I think, a theory that all of us kind of share, at least those of us who are enjoying New World, which I do believe is most of us, and that is that the bones of this game are easily unsurpassed. You know, I look at things like Ashes of Creation, and I look at things like Crowfall, and I'm just not impressed. I can't be. It just isn't impressive, and I feel like the only reason people play it is because there might be something specific to that MMO that appeals to a specific player, or I think a lot of us are desperate for a good MMO. I won't exclude that from being why some of us might might be excited about New World, but I do think for once we're getting an MMO in New World that is justifiably worthy of our desperosity. If you even want to call it that, I'm really sorry, but you know what I mean. Just like, it's worth it. It's good. It has amazing potential, and I'm super excited about it. And I think the fishing alone is a great little, well, example of that, right? I definitely want to do more fishing. It's a load of fun, and I'm going to save it for closed beta because I think it's one of those slower things. I don't want to ruin it for myself before the game even comes out. But I will say, fishing in this game gets an A+ from me. Now, another thing I will say is that something you can do with fishing, something I really, really enjoy, is you salvage everything, right? That's how you get gold in this game. That's how you get repair parts. That's how you get access to different resources. In this case, when you fish, you salvage the fish and you have a chance of acquiring certain things. So with this bass that I have a chance of acquiring fish oil. Let's salvage it. I get 2 to 3 fish fillets. That's for cooking. And then additional items such as fish oil could be acquired. In this case, I don't think I just got it. I can go ahead and get rid of my salmon. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of my small perch. Did I even get the oil? Oh, I did. I have 1 fish oil. I will take it, right? I like that you can search in your inventory without an add-on, by the way. Such a sleek UI. But yeah, that's basically fishing in a nutshell. Okay, guys, I'm going to go ahead and roll some clips of some PvP with the bow and the spear so we can go ahead and show you guys that. One thing I want you guys to really take note of is just how more difficult it can be to use the bow in comparison to the musket. But that's not the point. We all know the musket's easier to use. The point is, you need to decide, as I'm going to as well, whether or not the bow is worth mastering and whether you're going to get an edge or even approach some form of equality with the musket with the bow. So let's go ahead and roll those clips, and you can decide for yourself. Okay, that's 47 cooking, 49 cooking, and there we go, guys, 50 cooking. So one thing I did notice is that the herbalism skill in this game, harvesting, is actually pretty slow to level. It could be that I'm just not keeping a good eye out for everything, and if that's the case, I do apologize to my harvesters out there that might have a little bit more knowledge on that than me. I want to do it, and I noticed that the next tier up in terms of, you know, moving on from like a starter harvesting, you know, plant, let's say, to a more advanced one only requires level 30 harvesting as opposed to level 50 like most of the skills I've seen do. I think that's actually as a direct result of how difficult it is to find harvesting materials. Like those petal caps, one thing you can notice about my trade skills is that if you take a look at harvesting and some of these other ones compared to, let's say, smelting, woodworking, leatherworking, logging, mining, even tracking, really, right? Cooking and engineering, some are definitely falling behind. I do think stone cutting is probably incredibly easy to level. I'm just not, you know, mining boulders for fun. Harvesting, though, that's been a slow grind at 25. Weaving, I can't really find that much hemp. I might not be finding it because I'm not looking for it, but I certainly know what it looks like, and I just don't encounter it often, and whenever I do see it, I go for it. Weaponsmithing and armoring definitely takes a bit of time to do, I noticed, because you need quite a lot of iron for that. Even with my mining skill, it's just not been enough because you use iron for so many other things. In some games, mining is only complementary to whatever blacksmithing would be, in this case both weaponsmithing and armoring. But in this game, mining is complementary to everything. Engineering, jewel crafting, hell, even leatherworking, right? Stone cutting perhaps, and woodworking could be as well. Fishing is level 7, that's certainly very slow. Furnishing, there's no point because I don't have a house. Jewel crafting, this one goes hand in hand with stone cutting, and so again, I could just mine boulders and get the stuff I need for it and go hard on it, but I do suspect that that's a bit slower as well. So that's kind of like what I think. I think that the skills you see right now that I have above 50 are the easiest ones to level in the game starting off, and the ones you see that are kind of under leveled are going to be a little bit more difficult to do. Now, my prediction is that those of you who take the skills that are harder to level and go into them hard when the game first comes out could possibly come out of it quite rich from the materials that you'll gain, especially when you start to surpass your peers and get things that they have never gotten to, because as you could see, if I kept playing my character the exact same way I'm doing now, which is just basically for fun, PvP, professions as I see fit, I would be far behind somebody who was actually going hard on just a few specific skills, really trying to level them up and make money off it. And that's why I have some theories for how I want to start the game that I won't necessarily give away right away. Although now that I'm looking at it, there's quite a lot of petal caps, those little green bushes over there, north of, let's see, the Amrine excavation, so I'll have to keep that in mind. One thing I wish they would do is create an add-on, actually, an add-on that would let you mark things on the map for yourself. That way, let's say if I found a place where there's a lot of iron, so I'll just give it away. Right here, I've said this before, there's a whole lot of iron. I could just mark it on the map, and I'll always know. I'll never have to actually, like, take any part of my brain to compartmentalize that specific bit of memory. I can just let it go, track it on the map. It'll be very clear, concise, and simple. That's what I would like. But anyway, fronded petal caps, 26 harvesting right there. I'll definitely take it. Okay, and that is level 70 mining, guys. I've been going for like the springstone, the, what is it called? Like the bright rock, or even maybe something like earth crag. It's a bunch of different elemental type of rocks. I think they're very interesting. You can do a lot of different stuff with the resources that come from stuff like this springstone. Specifically, I think it's with jewel crafting, but also with this one skill called Arcana, which I haven't been able to do much of. So you can make certain things out of it. You can see the wisps down there. You can see the staves, gauntlets, and all sorts of different crap. So this is very cool, but not exactly the easiest to find. Although if I'm honest, that kind of just encourages me to go out and try to find it even more than I would have already. All right, one thing I want to show you guys now, more PvP, more spear bow. Let's get into it. what do you guys think? More PvP, more progression, more bow, spear, not in that order, obviously, based on what I just took out, but you guys know what I mean. I think it's a lot of fun. I think New World is freaking amazing. I'm going to try to gather enough clips to give you guys at least one more video before the closed beta servers go down, but I will say I have a newfound appreciation for the bow. In fact, I might actually use the bow as my very first, I guess you could say weapon combo, right? I mean, everybody wants to have like some kind of go-to. One other thing I can say is that I have determined that the Great Axe is actually way better than I could have ever dreamed of. There are combos you can use with it that absolutely one-shot players, and not to mention the gravity well that we talked about in a previous video as well. So that is something that I'd like to give a second try, and if you're looking for some OP stuff, I highly recommend you get your hands on the Great Axe. Another thing is that we did a poll. What's the strongest PvP weapon in New World in your opinion? I didn't put the axe on here because there weren't enough options, and I like to leave an other option, and also I hadn't gotten wrecked by an axe yet, so I didn't quite understand how good it was, but we had some pretty solid choices. Musket, fire staff, spear, rapier, and other, and 31% of you said rapier, 26% musket. I can understand the musketeers. The rapier is quite great, and the thing about the rapier is that it was clearly made for PvP. However, I'm not really sure if it's better than the axe. We'll have to see. There's probably some really good people out there that could prove me wrong on it, but one thing you need to do, keep track of the community page. Make sure you vote whenever a poll goes up. I'm going to do another poll asking you guys, what weapon will you be using when New World launches on August 31st? I'm just curious, and I've grouped everything by attributes. So if you're axe or hammer, so strength based, let me know. Spear, hatchet, rapier, which is kind of like dexterity based, but the spear and the hatchet go off strength as well. The rapier goes off int. Fire staff, ice gauntlet, life staff, the intellect based stuff. Bow and musket, dexterity ranged, and then sword and shield. It's kind of tank, but you can actually sword shield DPS. At least that's what it looks like they're pushing. So go ahead, let me know. I'm going to go ahead and post that right now, and let me know which one you think is going to be the one that you're going to use. Okay, guys, that's going to be the end of this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Bow and spear, PvP commentary progression, and you know what? The closed beta ends August 2nd. Super sad about that. I'm really hoping they surprise us with like a surprise open beta, right? Up until maybe a few days before launch. That would be awesome. I don't know if it's going to happen. I probably don't think it's going to happen, but I want it to happen. But anyway, guys, if you enjoyed the video, make sure to give it a like and to subscribe. But I will see you guys in the next video. Mcdoubles out.